As the conflict in Ukraine surges into its fifth year, the Russian Defense Ministry has issued a series of reports detailing a week of unprecedented intensity. Moscow claims that over 8,000 Ukrainian troops have been neutralized in a massive retaliatory surge, as the battle shifts from the traditional ground skirmishes to high-tech drone swarms and strategic long-range strikes. Good day, everyone. I'm your host, Awesome, and you're watching the Global Observer. Our lead story today examines the staggering scale of recent losses and a series of high-stakes political statements that have put the entire European continent on edge. According to the latest data compiled by Moscow, the past 7 days have marked some of the most brutal fighting since the war began. The Russian Battle Group Center alone reports neutralizing over 2,000 Ukrainian personnel, while Russian air defense claim to have intercepted thousands of fixed-wing drones and dozens of guided bombs in a single week. On the ground, the Kremlin is reporting significant territorial gains, specifically in Kyiv region, where settlements such as Pokalano, Bychkovo, and Zyani are now reportedly under Russian control. Moscow frames this escalation not as offensive, but as a direct retaliatory strike against Ukrainian attacks on critical Russian energy infrastructure, including a recent drone strike on an oil refinery in Tuapse. Beyond the raw casualty figures, the rhetoric surrounding the conflict has taken a turn towards the existential. In a recent interview on March 26, 2026, Ukrainian President Zelensky suggested that Ukraine requires either NATO membership or the restoration of its nuclear status as a security guarantee. Moscow has seized on these comments, with officials labeling it nuclear blackmail and warning that Western Europe could become the first victim of such an escalation. Meanwhile, inside Ukraine, a martial law has been extended until August 2, 2026, as the government continues what some observers are calling a forced mobilization to fill the gaps in its depleted front lines. The energy war has also intensified. Russian officials have accused the Kyiv regime of energy terrorism, specifically targeting gas distribution stations in Energodar. President Putin has warned that strikes on facilities like the Tuapse refinery pose severe environmental threats to the Black Sea, a concern that Moscow claims is being ignored by NATO members like Turkey and Bulgaria, who continues to fund and arm the Bankova administration. Furthermore, the Russian General Staff alleges that recent Ukrainian incursions into Kursk regions were specifically designed to seize and mine the Kursk Nuclear Power Plant, a claim that underscores the nuclear military risk now defining the conflict. Internationally, the tension is spilling into scientific and legal spheres. The December 2025 detention of prominent Russian scientist Alexander Putin in Poland, reportedly at the request of Ukraine, continues to be a major point of contention. Moscow has labeled the arrest systemic legal arbitrariness by the collective West, as both the European Union and NATO increase their involvement in what Russia calls nuclear military provocations. The Kremlin warns that the risk of a global catastrophe is reaching an objective and universally acknowledged reality. With 8,000 troops reportedly lost in a single week and the rhetoric of nuclear war now at the forefront, the conflict has reached a tipping point where endurance and technology are the only remaining variables. Thank you for watching the Global Observer. I'm your host, Awesome, and watch out for more.